How's it going, crew? This is Happy Days and welcome to another top 5 video. Today we're going to be looking at my personal top 5 favourite melee weapons for Terraria in pre and post hard mode. Thank you to the user that suggested I could use the numbered statues for the top 5 podiums here, which was a really cool idea, so I can't wait to use it this episode. As always, something that I consider when doing a top 5 is not just going to the wiki and listing the most powerful 5 weapons for a class. I think that's kind of a shallow sort of top 5 because, you know, anyone can sort of do that and just go, oh, they've got the highest stats. So what I do is think about multiple things, such as when in the game you can acquire the weapon, how rare it is it expensive, can you buy it, can you craft it, and also how useful is it against bosses, and if there's any special features about the weapon. So with that started, let's get started with number 5. Coming in at number 5 on my list is the Katana. The Katana is a pre-hard mode weapon that you can purchase from the Traveling Merchant, which he isn't selling at the moment, but anyway, you can buy it from him for 2 gold and 50 silver, which is actually not too expensive early game. It's a very quick weapon and usually has decent melee damage, and a cool thing about it is it has a higher than average critical strike chance. So I understand I'm wearing perhaps 1 or 2 crit items, but it has quite a large crit strike. A big thing about this weapon too is it's an auto swing weapon, which are actually quite rare early on in the game. Nearly all the crafted weapons are manual swing. This makes it fantastic for fighting bosses like the Eater of Worlds, and even Eye of Cthulhu that shoots multiple mobs at you. Against the Eater of Worlds, the Katana can be quite useful because of the auto swing feature, and if you can merely step out of its way, it gives you the ability to score lots of hits really quickly against it. Coming in at number 4 on my list is a weapon that you can find really early on in your playthrough if you're happy to do a bit of skybridge building, and it's the Sun Fury. Sun Fury is a sword that you can find in a sky chest on your world in floating islands, and when you swing it, it actually makes little stars fall out of the sky and hit your enemies. Now, it's not an auto swing weapon, but it has a fast attack speed, which means that you are able to get quite a few hits in with it. Number 3 on my list is a weapon that you can get very early in hard mode, and that coupled with its strength is a strong reason that it's made my list, as whenever I'm doing a general playthrough I usually go for this straight away, and it's the Cutlass. The Cutlass drops during the pirate invasion and is an auto swing weapon, and it's an auto swing coupled with a really high base damage of about 55, as I try not to die while I'm recording this. Another reason the Cutlass rates so highly on my list is its auto swing ability is really useful against some of the mech bosses, such as the Destroyer. As you can see here, it's dealing very nice damage against the Destroyer, and you don't need a lot of weapon modifications or accessories to do that damage. For number 2 on the list, we're here at the dungeon on a Crimson world, and we're going to unlock the Crimson chest to get a weapon that nearly every melee character, I would argue, has in their possession, and that is the Vampire Knives. Now, damage-wise, the Vampire Knives start out fairly low, but they have an amazing ability, and that is the Lifesteal attack. The Lifesteal works by giving you a small percentage of damage dealt back to your character. Now, it's a utility weapon, and I'm going to show you the main uses of it now. The reason I put the Vampire Knives so high on my list is not for their damage, but for the fact that they make such a great secondary weapon for a melee character. So obviously, when you're fighting invasions and things like that with a melee character, you're going to need to heal a lot more often than other characters. So what I like to do is, you know, you go to town with your main weapon, whatever that is, but you have the option to swap in to your Vampire Knives when you need a heal. Okay, so that leaves us at number 1, and for me this was a choice that I kind of knew from the start that I would pick, but I did a bit of testing with it just to make sure that it was the weapon I thought it was. So let's get it started. Number 1 on my list is the Flareon. The Flareon is a flail weapon that does melee damage, and when you swing it, it releases lots of little bubbles that also do the same damage that the weapon itself does. So you've got the flail attack and homing bubbles. On top of that, it's also an auto swing weapon. You can earn the Flareon by summoning Duke Fishron, which you get by fishing with a truffle worm in the ocean biomes, and he has a 1 in 5 chance of dropping the Flareon. So there's 5 main drops you can get from him, and the Flareon is one of them. The reason I like the Flareon so much is, as you can see, the homing bubble attack is just so useful during invasions where, you know, you want to sort of focus on the big beasties as much as you can, and you can let the homing bubbles do a lot of the work for you. So this is an AFK arena I made, and yeah, I think it's kind of useful because as a melee character, you really don't want to be in melee range as much as possible. And that's my problem with weapons like the Horseman's Blade. Like, they're great if you can tank some damage, but you know, later on in the invasions you've got to be within melee range to summon the pumpkins. And whilst they're super powerful, it is difficult to keep your health up whilst you're still summoning lots of pumpkins. The same thing with the Terror Blade. I find the blades that it summons don't actually pierce, so although it's a rapid fire weapon, the blade bolts don't do a ton of damage, and the sword itself, like the pumpkin blade, the Horseman's Blade rather, have to be in melee distance. As you can see, the Flareon is doing fine by itself, and I'm just standing here on this piece of ice while it's pretty much wrecking the Frost Moon. And I'm not doing anything special here, I'm not really even moving, so now obviously in the later waves this strategy won't work, but I'm just demonstrating how, you know, its homing ability is a lot more useful in my opinion than its counterparts, the Horseman's Blade and the Terror Blade. Okay guys, so that's my top 5 melee weapons in Terraria. Just to recap, we've got the Katana in at number 5 with its high critical chance and the fact you can get it super early pre-hard mode. We've got the Sun Fury in at number 4 with its Starfall attack and high base damage, and the fact that all you need to do is build a sky bridge to find one early on in the game. The Cutlass early for hard mode. Due to the fact it drops fairly commonly from pirate invasions, you can farm it just with a bucket of lava, which is super easy, and it's useful against the early mech bosses. We've got the Vampire Knives because it's a massive secondary weapon, and pretty much a must if you're a melee only character for its healing ability. I guess you'd argue it's similar to the Spectre Hood in a mage setup, where you can get a heal ability through that too. And number 1 on my list is the Flareon for its superior homing attack that in my opinion is a lot more useful in invasions versus the Horseman's Blade and the Terror Blade. Just for the fact that you can fight while staying out of harm's way, whereas the other two require you to be within melee distance to get their effects most of the time. I hope you've enjoyed my top 5, and as always, I'm more than happy if you have your own lists, so please put them in the comments, and as always when commenting on each other's, be respectful, and it's awesome when you give your reasons or your top 5, to actually give a reason why you think it's that. Just like I've done in this video, I haven't just gone, oh, Vampire Knives in number 2 because they're awesome. I've actually explained why I think they're awesome as well. Okay guys, it's time as always to do your shoutouts. First one, we've got Owen Harris has asked me to say Gum Gun 5 times fast. Oh, these tongue twisters, I tell you. So, let's give this a go. Gum Gun, Gum Gun. No, can't do it. You got me. Okay, we've got Hannah Bezdova has asked me to say in an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, "I'll be back, but with bigger guns." Love the movie quotes, that's awesome. We've got Jared Schumacher, cool name by the way, has asked me to say toy... What? Another one? Toy boat 5 times fast. Oh my gosh, you guys. Toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. I don't even know what that's supposed to sound like, but I can't do it. Okay, we've got Rubric, the Grand Magus. Cool name. I like the Dota 2 reference. That's awesome. Has asked me to say chocolate chip, sugar, peanut butter. Come to HappyDays. We have them all. I like that one. That's awesome. And finishes off today, we've got Carson Dawes. Asked me to say, hey, Happy. Oh no, I'm supposed to say this in a high voice. It's a Wyvern reference from all our videos. Okay. Hey, Happy, it's me, Mr. Wyvern. Oh, that crazy Wyvern's always like video bombing our vids. I don't know what's going on. He's not doing it at the moment, but oh, so crazy. Alright guys, don't forget to leave your comments for what you'd like to see our next top 5 for. Leave a like if you've enjoyed this vid, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. We are drawing our 20,000 subscriber prize about when this video comes out, probably about 5 hours after it. So if you see this and you haven't subscribed yet, get in quick, links in the description. You don't want to miss out on your chance for free games. Alright guys, as always, stay happy, and I'll see you next time. This is HappyDays signing out. See ya! And that means that Ectoplasm will be, getting farmed nicely. And you can see that was dead easy to set up that. So the mobs can cruise up the sides. The mimics can get in, which is one of the main things. Yeah, we've got lots of good loot. Oh, he's got 3,000 health! He's only got 3,000!